What is up today, my more squad? We are back with episode 19 of Talk More Sports, hosted by me, your main man, Hudson Moore. As y'all can see, I'm wearing my Devin Witherspoon Seattle Seahawks 90s throwback jersey because yesterday was our first win of the season in week 2 against the Pittsburgh Steelers for our Seattle Seahawks, baby. Oh my goodness. There is so much to break down in that game yesterday, so I'm so excited to talk about it with you guys. So with that being said, we're just going to dive right into it. All right, y'all? Okay. So, as I said yesterday, was our first win of the season in week 2 against the Pittsburgh Steelers at Pittsburgh, right? And this was a very important game because after losing our first game at home against the 49ers, we needed this win going over to Pittsburgh. And also, we're going up against DK Metcalf, our former wide receiver we had, with also the addition of Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. So there was a lot to think about from the first week of the 49ers, right? With Sam Darnold, our play calling, our offense efficiency. But boy, did we turn this whole thing around yesterday. Because I got to tell you, that was spectacular Seattle Seahawks football. That was fantastic execution on both sides of the field. I'm just going to read out a few stats while we're talking right now. Total offense. This is total offense for the Seattle Seahawks. 395 yards total. Running 117 yards, passing 278 yards, compared to the Steelers, who were total yards 267, passing 195, and rushing 72. We dominated on the offensive side. Now, I know some people could say, like, oh, well, you're going against a defense that's not that good. But no, I mean, what do you mean? We're going against TJ Watt, who is a former defensive player of the year, and also, in my opinion, who I feel like should have been a defensive player the last 2 years as well. Also going against Jalen Ramsey, who, even though he's in the, older spectrum, still is a very good DB, with also Darius Slay. So we had some good defensive players we're going up against. And again, this offense, people were questioning it, and a lot of people had the Steelers winning. And then also, now that we win, now you're saying that we're not that good of a team. Like, oh, it was a bad team, even though everybody picked the Steelers. So, make it make sense, people. I don't know. Just make it make sense. But then I'm going to read a few player stats, which got me so excited. And I'm gonna read out a few stats. Sam Darnold, 22 for 33 completion. Pretty solid. 295-yard passing, 2 TDs, 2 interceptions, and a 99 QBR rating. That is so much better than first week against the 49ers. I loved what I saw from Sam Darnold. Now, I know a few picks were a little sloppy. One was a bit questionable. Another one was definitely his fault. But you know what? That is fine because he made up for it. And what I really appreciate about Sam Darnold, which I saw a lot, he always tried to avoid the sack. Even though he got sacked twice, and that was, again, really from the offensive line not protecting the blitz. But still, what I saw from Sam Darnold, he was just trying everything he can not to get sacked. He was trying to extend the play, even when it was broken up. And that's what I really liked. And he definitely did a great job in this game. I'm hoping that this win gives him all the confidence that he can go out there and perform the same way he did with the Minnesota Vikings last season. I loved what I saw from Sam Darnold. He did such a great job. And again, I've said this on my show previous against the 49ers. I never blamed Sam Darnold for that loss. I truly never did. It was Clint Kubiak who lost us that game. Not Sam Darnold, Clint Kubiak. Because he never put Sam Darnold in our offense in the right situation to succeed, only to fail. But in this scenario, he did set up the team for success and not failure, which, in case in point, shows the results of both our offense efficiency. And again, I'm going to read out a few wide receiver stats too, which I even loved even more. Again, receiving. Check this out. Receiving. Cooper Kupp, seven targets and 7 catches for 90 yards. Jackson Smith-Njigba, 8 catches for 103 yards. And also Torrey Horn, a little 2 catches for 32 yards with his first TD as a rookie. So this was the game I knew we needed to have our passing game on point. On point. Even though we're going against Jalen Ramsey and Darius Slay, who are 2 well-respected corners in the game, this was a game I knew we needed to start passing the ball. We can't just keep running up the middle and keep doing these top passes. We need to actually start giving the ball because we have a very underrated wide receiver room. I truly believe we do. And this shows us. Cooper Kupp with 7 catches and 90 yards. He looked spectacular. Spectacular. I mean, he looks, even for being a 31, 32-year-old wide receiver, he still looks tip-top shape. If he could just stay healthy, like I said, he could have himself a 1,000-plus yard receiving season. for sure. And then Jackson Smith Najibba, I feel like Sam Darnold and Jackson's connection is going to be a top five duo of quarterback and wide receiver in the league. There's already back to back 200-yard receiving games in the first 2 weeks already. Because again, Jackson's rookie year never had a 100-yard receiving game. Jackson's second year last year had 300-yard receiving games. And already the first 2 weeks of the 2025 season already has back-to-back 100-yard receiving games. And he's looking spectacular in that slot. Remember when they said he was ranked number one best slot receiver last year with averaging over 200 yards compared to all the other wide receivers? Well, it's looking like the same results this year, if not better. And I love what Sam Darnold is doing because he realizes that Jackson Smith is the number one wide receiver and that we have a very special, talented wide receiver that we need to keep progressing. And I love what Sam Darnold's doing. Like that Sam Darnold and Jackson connection is looking great, and I am loving it. And the decision making that Sam was doing was fantastic, fantastic. I loved it. I loved it. Receiving core looked great. Jackson looked fantastic. Cooper still looks like vintage Cooper Cub. Torrey Horn, I hope we give him a little bit more catches. And if so, I think he could be very deadly. So again, quarterback, fantastic. Wide receivers, fantastic. They were all over. And again, Jackson Smith lined up against Jalen Ramsey and didn't do so hot. Jalen didn't do so hot at all. Jackson was working that dude. And I know people are gonna say, well, Jalen Ramsey's old, he's older, he's not in his prime. So he still had a pick over Sam Darnold, and he still looked pretty good. So excuses, excuses, excuses. That's all I'm hearing. So I love what I saw from our wide receivers and our quarterback. It looked great. But our running, though, our running is what I really want to talk about because, again, I'm looking at this running. Kenneth Walker, 13 carries for 105 yards. You know, when we get a run game going, it really does make all the difference in the world for our offense. It really just expands and opens up everything for us. Now, I got to say, though, those toss plays we were doing, didn't like those at all. I was so tired of them. But then I started to think to myself and talk to myself about, like, well, when we look back at this game, all those toss plays we were doing was to Zach Charbonnet. Until that last one that we did with Kenneth Walker, that was an easy walk-in TD for him. And then I realized, like, okay, maybe that was the whole point. Maybe that was the whole process setting to have Zach Charbonnet keep being the guy you toss play to him. Because again, Zach Charbonnet's not that really fast. He's more of the bulldozer. He runs through players. If it's like 3rd and 4, 3rd and 2, like he's the guy you want running up the middle. But Kenneth Walker, he's more the elusiveness, shifty, fast twitch guy. So it caught the defense off guard when they toss played to Kenneth Walker, and you saw the difference making. They couldn't tackle him. Now, granted, we don't have the best pass protection and run protection still, even though I'm seeing a lot of improvements, but still, history has shown we still have a lot to improve. But it's looking good the first 2 weeks. But when you kind of set the defense on their feet like that, it makes a difference. And that's the thing. That's what I noticed about Clint Kubiak. He had the Steelers defense on their toes because you kept handing the ball off to Zach Charbonnet after another. But then when you started to give it to Kevin Walker, they didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to expect. They didn't. They had no idea, no awareness. They couldn't stop this dude. So I loved what I saw from the offensive play calling from Clint Kubiak. So much better because you know what? I'm never the guy to say this kind of stuff, and I probably never will ever again. But my emotions were just very high, especially after that first loss against the 49ers at home. But I said to family and friends that Clint Kubiak was on the hot seat going into this week 2. And I know that's a strange thing for me to say and even to hear out loud because I've never, ever said stuff like that. But the performance he had in that first week was just it's at a loss for words. Like I really don't know how to describe it. Especially if you're a Seahawks fan, you don't even know how to describe it. So going into this week away, it's like, man, you are on the hot seat. You are on the hot seat. Because I am not saying we have a great offense. We could top 10 possibly, top 5. I don't know. Okay, comparisons to like the Lions. We don't have like a Jared Goff, Amon Ra, Jameer Gibbs, David Montgomery, Sam Laporta, like in the offensive line they do, right? But they had a great offensive coordinator too. Whereas our team, we could definitely have a very diamond in the rough offense, but we need the play calling. We need the right play calls. And so with Clint Kubiak, the way he was performing the first game, it's like, dude, come on. Like, it's almost like anybody else could be an offensive coordinator over this dude, right? I feel like I could have been a better offense coordinator. So going into this week, I said he was on the hot seat. And I'm not saying that we were going to fire him if we lost, but I wouldn't be surprised if something happens like midway through the season or right after the season ends, right? So again, great job to Clint Kubiak. Like he did a fantastic job. I hope he continues to progress like that every single game. And I hope this gives our offense all the courage and confidence in the world because now they can go up against anybody. Truly, they can. And I loved what I saw from the offense. Sam Darnold, fantastic. Jackson, Cooper, great job. Kenneth Walker, amazing. Offensive line, even though allowed 2 sacks, for the most part, did pretty well against TJ Watt. I'm not going to lie. Pretty solid. First 2 weeks, they've gone up against Nick Bosa, right? Fred Warner, and now TJ Watt. First 2 games of the season, we get up against those 3 guys. And the offensive line has done pretty well. Because again, offensive line didn't give up a single sack to Nick or Fred the first week. And didn't give up a sack to TJ Watt. And especially that's on Abe Lucas's side, right? On the right side of the field. And I know Abe has made a couple of mistakes, but for the most part, hasn't given up a sack from Nick or TJ Watt. So our offensive line definitely looks like it's improved and it's getting better. Let's just stay on the course. Now, hopefully, with Jalen Sundell, our second year offensive tackle or second year center, I hope he stays healthy because I don't know how I feel about Oluwatani, our second year offensive lineman. I truly don't. I mean, I'm saying Oluwatani was bad. I mean, he had a solid, decent rookie year, but something about Jalen Sundell, he beat him out in training camp. So I'm like, well, clearly they see something in Jalen Sundell better than Oluwatani. So let's keep Jalen Sundell. So hopefully that was just a cramps he had during the end of the game, and hopefully it's nothing serious because it made a big difference that we needed him compared to Oluwatani. So I hope he gets back because we're going to definitely need him. We're going to need him for sure. But again, fantastic from the offense. I love what I saw because, again, we already knew what our defense was going to be. We look at this defense, it's a top 5 in the league. Top 3 maybe. One, you never know. So we already knew the expectations for our defense. It was top. It was all the way up there. All the way up there. But our offense was the question. And the first week, unfortunately, proved some people right where it's like, oh, it's what we told you what was gonna happen. But then second week, they turned things around. And then now people are making excuses like, oh, well, you're going up against this old guy, this broken team, this yada yada, but yeah, you all had them beating us. So make it make sense, people. Excuses, 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 as I'm saying again, right? So fantastic from the offense side. I love what I saw. But the defense, though, the defense, I'm very, whoo, let's talk about this defense. That D line, man, Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy, Jaron Reed, and Demarcus Lawrence all had a piece of Aaron Rodgers. Whether it was a sack, a tackle for a loss, like they all had a piece of Aaron Rodgers, and boy, did they just look good and dominating. Seriously, they look all healthy and ready to go. Seriously, our defensive line looked fantastic. I am so excited. And you know what's funny? We have such an old head defensive line. Like, we have Demarcus Lawrence at 34, 35 years old. We have Leonard Williams at 32 years old. Jaron Reed at 32, 33. And Byron Murphy is our only youngster, right? Oh, no, also Mike Morris from Michigan, who is our second or third-year player. Excuse me, third-year player. But still, Byron Murphy is the guy to be in that D line, not Mike Morris. But still, Mike Morris still had a decent game, too. But I'm just talking about Byron, Leonard, Demarcus, and Jaron. Those 4 pivotal guys. Like they all did a great job of containing Aaron Rodgers. They had a fantastic game and they looked solid. Ernest Jones, Tyrese Knight, Boy Mafe, Derek Hall, they all looked stellar as well. Like they looked fantastic. But that secondary, man, I know everybody in Seattle's been talking about that secondary all week because we were going up against our former wide receiver, DK Metcalf. We were all talking about that. We were all talking. We were thinking, man, with Devin Witherspoon being out with a knee injury and after the horrendous first week performance at Tariq Woolen had, we were like, oh boy, DK might have the game of his life, or at least the game of the season for himself because, oh my God, he's going to run all over us. Like, but boy, Josh frickin' Jobes. Josh Jobes. Sir, like, we better extend Josh Jobes after this season. Because, my God, I don't think it's been forever since I've seen a pure corner like Josh Jobes, especially for Seattle Seahawks, right? Because, like, the last one was Richard Sherman, and his last year with us was 2018. 2017, 2018. And since then, we've never really had a pure corner who could just lock up a wide receiver with the kind of footwork and technique and fundamentals he has. Now, don't get me wrong, no shade on Devin Witherspoon. He's easily our best corner. But I'm just saying, like, as a true fundamental kind of wide cornerback, like a true fundamental kind of guy with the technique the hand-eye coordination. Because when you look at Devin Witherspoon, he's more of like a bruiser, right? Like he does a lot of tackling, a lot of like trying to get after the quarterback, which is still great. I love. But when you look at Josh Jacobs, he just knows like, hey, my job is to lock up any wide receiver in front of me. That's just my job. Now, if you want to put me in a spot where I can try to get after a running back or quarterback, sure. But I know my guy is the wide receiver right in front of me, and that was DK Metcalf, and he held this man to only 3 catches, 20 yards, and 2 drops. The TD was against Kobe Bryant. And you know what? I'm not too upset about that because, again, Kobe Bryant, DK Metcalf, DK should win that matchup. I mean, I would have been happy if he didn't catch that, but it's like, well, there's a big difference between a 6'4 guy and a 6'1 dude with a lot more muscle and athletic ability compared to him. So he should have won that matchup. But the fact that Josh Jacobs kept this guy to only 3 catches, 20 yards, and 2 drops. Seriously, I thought DK was going to run all over our secondary. I thought Aaron Rodgers and him were just going to have the game of the season. But no, Josh Jacobs is like, hold on, wait a minute. I got this dude. And re- extend this dude. Seattle Seahawks, extend this man. This dude is 26, 27 years old, clearly in his prime. Extend him. Because, oh my God, this dude is gunning for Tariq Woolen's job. I'm calling right now. If Tariq doesn't have a better season, Josh Jacobs is going to gun for Tariq Woolen's job as corner number 2. He truly is. He truly is. Because I'm still questioning whether we're going to even extend Tariq after the season, being his last year of his rookie contract. So to me, it's almost like Josh Jacobs is clearly the number 2 corner right now. And even Darian Kendrick. Who was this dude? I didn't even hear about this dude just until this game. I'm like, De'Aaron Kendrick, this guy almost had 2 picks. He had 1 pick in the red zone, and excuse me, in the end zone, and then almost had a second pick, or at least technically his second. Okay, you could say his first pick was that pick in the end zone, but then he could have had like his first official pick previous before that, and he balled out as well. So I'm thinking to myself, and because I didn't really see much from Tariq Woolen at all, I'm like, all I kept hearing was Josh Jacobs and De'Aaron Kendrick, and I'm like, oh my god, didn't we just have like Devin Witherspoon and Tariq Woolen as our 2 top corners like a season ago, and now it's like Josh Jobes and Darren Kendrick, which I loved. And they're going around. Devin Witherspoon is easily our best corner, but still, I'm like Josh Jobes, Darren Kendrick. What? Hold up, wait, what? And they played spectacularly. It was so great. I loved what I saw from Josh Jobs, and I'm praising this man because it's like you literally kept DK Metcalf to 3 catches, 20 yards. 2 drops. DK Metcalf. And you know what's funny, Seattle Seahawks fans? To all my Seahawks fans out there listening, you all know this when, DK said the grass is greener on the other side. Boy, were you wrong about that. Whew, that's a statement that us Seattle fans are never gonna forget. It's kind of like what Russell Wilson said about he wants to go to an organization that wins, right? That knows how to win. We all remember that. We never forget that. So this is the same thing with DK Metcalf. The grass is green on the other side. Like, dude, you ate your words very badly, very badly. Like seriously, like come on, dude. You can't say stuff like that. And I say to my Pittsburgh Steelers fans out there listening and watching, you sure you should have signed him to 35 million a year for 5 years? Really? You sure about that? You sure about that? So yeah, again, I loved what I saw from Josh Jobs and Darren Kendrick. They played fantastic. They played fantastic. I loved it. So I really hope Seattle Seahawks take a long, good look at Josh Jobs at the end of the season, and it's like, wow, we got to extend this dude. Like we would be fools to let him go. Like we might even make him corner number 2. We don't even know if we're gonna resign Tariq. And again, I am not saying that we should get rid of Tariq. It's still a long season. We have 15 more games to go. But the way it's looking, Devin Witherspoon, Josh Jobs, and De'Aaron Kendrick. That's how I'm looking at it right now. Tariq Woolen, I just don't know. I just don't know. So I loved what I saw from our defense. They played spectacular. It was a great performance all around. Great play calling from Clint Kubiak. He did such a much better job. Seriously, like it was a great game from him as the coach. Mike McDowell, great job as the head coach. Sam Darnold, Jackson Smith, Cooper Kupp, Kenneth Walker, great job on the offensive side. Josh Jobs, De'Aaron Kendrick, Ernest Jones, Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy. Great job on the defense. Like such a great job. And even on special teams, seriously, like good job from George Halani getting that TD, on special teams. Like great job all around from all sides of football, special teams, offense and defense. Great job. Fantastic job. It was I loved it. It made me so happy. And also on top of that, we put up 24 points in the second half. Second half, 24 points. And we only allowed 3 points on the Steelers side in the second half. Because I know some Seattle Seahawks fans, myself included, were a little bit like, oh, man, is this going to be a repeat from last week's game against 49ers? We only put up a touchdown in the first half, and now we're not looking like we're going to score another touchdown, or probably we will at the very end. Like, here we go again. Is this really going to how be our season is? But no, no, they flipped it around. And even before we allowed that field goal from the Steelers, we put up 17 unanswered points in the second half before they kicked that field goal. So great job all around. Seriously, it was a fantastic game. I loved what I saw. I loved the sense of urgency, which is what we all Seahawks fans were just voicing about this whole week leading up to this game. Sense of urgency from the offense, especially from the offense. The defense, they could have done a little better, which they did, but the offense is what we needed. We needed that sense of urgency and that sense of attacking, and that's what they did, and I loved that. Now I hope they continue to progress that. I truly hope they do. And I feel like with this kind of confidence of a win, they can. They absolutely can. And they should. There's no excuse. Now I just hope that we can now bring back home field advantage, right? Because even though I would love to go like 7-1 or undefeated away, which is great, but let's also bring back home field advantage. Let's give our Seahawks fans a reason to buy tickets again. Let's bring back the old days of 12th man from 5 to 10 years ago. Let's bring back the 12th man. Let's bring them back. Let's show them that we can keep home field advantage and that nobody comes into our house here in Seattle and takes over. Only Seahawks are the ones who are going to get that dub in the end. No one else but the Seahawks. So I hope going into this week's game at Sunday with the New Orleans coming to us that we keep that home field advantage alive. We keep it alive. And after seeing what I saw against Pittsburgh, I have no doubt that we can. So I love what I saw from both sides of the ball, and I hope they continue this weekend against New Orleans. I want to thank to everybody out there listening. Subscribe down below to my channel. I'm trying to get these followers up. Follow my path. Follow it all. I'll give you everything information, give you everything in the world of sports. Follow my journey, and you'll learn much more from me. Please hit that like button. Comment down below, especially if you're a Seattle Seahawks fan. Comment down below what's your thoughts of this week's game and what you're going to think about for the New Orleans game. So comment down below, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and until next time, we'll be back with more.